Hi, it's Dennis Daly. Nice to have you along on All Week Theater, where we take a classic radio episode and play it out over 5 days. This week, a motion picture that eventually would become a television show comes to radio. For more than 12 episodes, Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore, was a big MGM hit at the movie theaters. Eventually, Richard Chamberlain would play Dr. Kildare, but in the intervening years, it went to radio. So here's a wonderful episode of The Adventures of Dr. Kildare in 5 parts for you this week. Here's part number 1.
Now, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Blair General Hospital, one of the great citadels of American medicine. The clump of gray-white buildings planted deep in the heart of New York. The nerve center of medical progress, where great minds and skilled hands wage man's everlasting battle against death and disease. Blair General Hospital, where life begins, where life ends, where life goes on.
Dr. Gillespie, I don't care how strong a hunch you have. Things have been quiet around the hospital for over a week. What could happen?
Parker, anything could happen. A meteor could fall on the East Wing. We could have an epidemic of bubonic plague. Carew could suddenly become intelligent.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You mean about Carew? Well, I guess that's a little far-fetched.
I mean, the whole idea is ridiculous. Just because you've got a feeling of some sort is no reason to believe...
Morning, Dr. Gillespie.
Good morning.
Parker, you've got that gleam of battle in your eye. What's up?
Oh, it's Dr. Gillespie. He has a hunch some catastrophe is about to happen.
Well, don't worry about it. I've seen his hunches turn out wrong before.
Maybe so, Jimmy, maybe so, but you've also seen them turn out right.
Sure, sometimes. Law of averages.
Law of averages.
Oh, dear.
Carew! For the first time in my life, I hope you really do have a crisis.
Oh, I do, Dr. Gillespie. We do. Blair Hospital does.
What sort of a crisis, Dr. Carew?
Oh, it's most upsetting. A new patient came in about an hour ago.
Well, now, Carew, we've met that particular crisis successfully before.
But you don't understand. This man has already disrupted hospital routine simply no end.
What's he done?
Dr. Kildare, he insists on keeping a pistol in his room and some kind of a musical instrument, a guitar, I believe he calls it, and he won't take his hat off.
Won't take his hat off?
Precisely, Dr. Kildare.
Carew, what's the name of this problem patient?
One that's quite in keeping with his occupation.
Huh?
He's with a Wild West show that's playing across town. A professional cowboy, he calls himself. His name is Buffalo Barney McClure.
Oh, Dr. Carew, I still don't understand what disturbs you so much.
Dr. Kildare, if you can imagine a man with long hair, a mustache, and a goatee sitting up in bed in a hospital gown, holding a pistol, and wearing a 10-gallon hat, well, it's a perfectly horrible sight.
Boys, I want to tell you that I ain't never been sick a day in my whole life till this happened.
I see. And the pain seems to center in the upper abdomen around here?
Careful, Doc. My innards is mighty tender. They're mighty tender. Mr. McClure, what about that fall you took from your horse last night at the show? Oh, shuckins, that weren't nothing. I've been throwed by cayuses ever since I was hip-high to a tumblebug.
But it did shake you up a little, didn't it?
Well, it knocked my darn bridge work out, but that fall didn't have nothing to do with this here bellyache. I felt fine till this morning.
Sometimes internal injuries don't show up for hours or even days after an accident, Mr. McClure.
Call me Buffalo, Doc. I ain't used to this here Mr. McClure stuff.
All right, Buffalo. Well, Dr. Gillespie, apparently the next step is a fluoroscopic examination.
Yes, sure, I know. Parker's getting an X-ray room assigned now. Boys, I sure do hope there ain't nothing real bad wrong with me.
Oh, let's assume not for the present anyway.
Sure would hate to think that I was cashing in my chips. Well, even if it is an injury, it probably won't be serious. Only time I ever needed a sawbones before was to dig a bullet out of my shoulder. And say, boys, I've been figuring on asking you something.
Oh? What's that?
That feller that's the boss of this year's spread, that there Dr. Carew. Has he got any kinfolks out west anywhere?
Carew? Oh, I don't think so.
Well, I used to know a fella years ago named Three-Fingered Tom Carew. Sure would like to meet up with some of his next of kin.
Well, I doubt very much if any relative of Dr. Carew's would let himself be called Three-Fingered Tom.
Come in. Oh, it's you, Parker. Come in.
Dr. Gillespie, I've got all the arrangements taken care of. You can have X-ray room number 8 in 30 minutes.
Oh, fine, Parker. Fine.
Well, boys, ain't none of you going to give me a howdy-doody to this charming little lady?
Well,
Parker, this is Mr. Buffalo Barney McClure. Miss Parker will be your nurse.
how do you do, Mr. Buffalo?
Well, now, I reckon you're just about the prettiest little urine that's come down the chute in about 4 months of Sunday.
Really?
Buffalo, are you quite sure you know what you're saying?
Why, you doggone right, boys, this is my kind of a filly, fresh and sweet as a cattle range in April.
Kildare, there's only one explanation. This man's worse shape than we thought.
So join me next time when I take a classic old-time radio episode and split it up into 5 easy-to-digest pieces, right here on All Week Theater.